everybody. My name is Simone Moffett, and I am the graphic designer at the Museum for Latin American Art here in Long Beach. And on behalf of the entire staff at MOLA, I'd like to welcome you to the 2020 Latino Comics Expo Worldwide. Today's program and the entire event would not be possible without the generous support of our sponsors. So right now we're going to play a brief welcome to you from our presenting sponsor, Hyundai.
On behalf of Hyundai Motor America, we welcome you to the 2020 Latino Comic Expo. As part of our Hispanic Heritage Celebration, we are thrilled to sponsor this great event. We hope that you enjoy the amazing Latino talent that will be featured.
Additional support for this whole expo was provided by San Manuel Band of Mission Indians, the Josephine S. Gumbiner Foundation, the Robert Gumbiner Foundation, and the City of Long Beach, as well as the Arts Council of Long Beach. Today's session is called In the Studio with Candy Briones, which will be a visit with the creator behind the Taco el Gato comic book, as well as the visual novel, The Good, the Bad, and the Bunny. Candy will share her process on character creation and working in multimedia art forms. Today, our event is hosted by Javier Hernández, who is the creator of El Muerto, a comic book launched in 1998 that was adapted into the 2007 film starring Wilmer Valderrama, for which Javier served as associate producer and arts educator, as well as a lecturer on Latin comics. Javier co-founded the Latino Comics Expo in 2007 with Ricardo Badilla. So right now, I would like to introduce you to Javier Hernández, and I'll let him take it away.
Thank you, Solimar. Appreciate that. And thank you to Mola for this. Wow, so far was 5 days of this. Thank you to all the fans who've been watching all week or popping in and out. We appreciate it. So today, let's bring in our guest. So I'm going to be visiting virtually in the studio with this great artist, Candy Briones. So let's get her on here.
Hello.
Hey, Candy.
Hi.
Hello, welcome. Welcome to the expo virtually.
Thank you.
So how are you holding up? Candy's also here in California like I am, so we've got a lot of issues going on in the our mountains and stuff. How's everything going for you, Candy?
It's going well. I can't complain. I still have a home. You know,
Right.
The blue sky was well, it was bright today because there wasn't as much smoke as other days recently.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, good.
Well, you're in a palatial home back there. We love your that big.
Oh,
giant
yes.
It's
You
beautiful.
like my home? Thanks.
It's beautiful. It's like it's like a cartoon. It's so clean and bright. I love it.
Yes. Yeah, this is my humble home.
Awesome, awesome. Not a successful artist here on the expo. The last time I saw you in person at a Latino Comics Expo, I think it was about 5 years ago, right? We were down at Mola down in Long Beach. I think that was your first time with us.
That was the first time I think we met. And last one was it Salinas or Modesto? No, it was Modesto.
Well, we did it at Modesto Junior College last year, but I don't know if you went to that. But you and me represented the expo at I think it's the Salinas Comic Con. You remember that drive? We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I remember. It was.
I'm lucky we'll get that extra guest on another screen later. No, I'm kidding.
We'll see.
So the first comic you had at that expo was something called Taco el Gato. Was that your first work? And like, I don't know if you remember the exact year, it might have been 2016. Was that your first work, and was that brand new at that time?
So Taco el Gato, that was my first serious, not serious, it wasn't very serious, but it was when I got serious about making comics.
Right.
Yeah, that was my first series that I did. but I've had that character since I was like a little kid, and uh, so that was my first actual finished like 10 issue story and
Oh.
stuff, and at that point when I did the one in Mola, um, that I've had a few years after I had finished it. Yeah.
Well, a lot of creators, but I know a lot of comic artists, like the comic they're most known for sometimes, like, you know, when we've done it for years, turns
Mhm.
out it's something they created when they were kids.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you had this little. So let me ask you then. Let's go back. Let's go ask young Candy this question.
Mhm.
How did you come up with this Taco el Gato character? You know, what influenced you at the time? And let's just kind of go back and check that out.
Okay, so I don't know if you wanted me to share my
Oh yeah,
picture,
yeah. If you
whatever.
got it, yeah. If you just happen to have some images available, that'd be great.
I happen to have these images, so if I may.
Yeah, you're a visual artist. It's not surprising you have visual images.
Yeah, so I guess
Wow.
specifically for Taco El Gato or everything.
Well, let's start with Taco because you said you created that as a kid, or at least the original idea. So, um, yeah, why did you come up with that character back then?
Okay, so back in the day, I made him like back in the year 2000 in
Oh,
or 1999. No, the year 2000. And I since I was a kid, I was always making stories and stuff. And at that time, I was making a little comic about Egyptian cats.
wow.
And he was a background character. And I liked his character. So I just started making more, you know, I kind of forgot about the other one. I just started making Taco comics. His name wasn't Taco at the time, though, but um, he was an orange tabby because I had a little cat that I used to feed when I was a kid. He was a childhood cat and stuff, and his name was Mew Mew. So it was kind of like a tribute to him. And yeah, so that's kind of how I started. And I guess the design and everything is like I guess my how I get my influences from like cartoons from the 90s because originally I um I was going for a career in animation. I was more passionate about animation back in the day.
Right.
Um but obviously now I'm more into comics because I get to write the stories, and I'm very much into story writing also.
Right.
But here like Bugs Bunny is one of my influences because you know in the 90s they still played like the Looney Tunes on TV and stuff. I kind of miss that. Well, I know Boomerang still plays it, but I don't have Boomerang anymore. But anyway, yeah, these characters, I love characters like these, you know, they're awesome. They got great personalities, they're hilarious. A few Matt Groening, I love his stuff, you know, the jokes and everything, easygoing. Some of my influences aren't even cartoons, but like I love Jim Henson and stuff.
Right.
All of their work, like the storyteller one, that one, like when I was a kid, I remember seeing just one episode of it, like on HBO, and like it left me like wow, it was really creepy, but it was amazing. Like it left it left its impact on me for years.
Right.
And I forgot what was the show. I forgot the name and everything, but I just the visuals were really like wow. Betty Boop, of course, and you know, Popeye. I like all those classics. Oh, these are like the comics that I like to read. Sayo Jimbo, Astro Boy. Yeah, this is an early Taco comic. I used to do. I started doing a web comic early back in 2009. um, uh, and this is like one of the covers and stuff.
It looks like he's down on Whittier Boulevard, down by where the Target's at.
Yeah,
By
here's
East LA. That's what it
the
reminds me
liquor
of.
store right here in the corner.
Yeah.
Huevos, leche, tapatio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is a really early one. Um, yeah. Oh,
You know, it's
huh?
interesting. It's interesting some of the cartoons you mentioned earlier, like Bugs Bunny and even like the Muppets show. You know, to me the thing they have in common is, yeah, it's obviously for kids because it's these fun you know, these cute cartoon characters, whatever, animals, funny animals.
Mhm.
But there's this layer of, you know, as you get older, I'm sure now as an older person, when you look at it, there's this layer on those cartoons where it's like, in a way, it's totally for adults, but it's never adult material, like the jokes and the writing and the way the characters act.
Yes.
So that seemed to be a common thread in a lot of the stuff that you're into as a kid.
Oh yes. Yeah, I like for example, one that I forgot to put on here was the Batman animated series.
Oh,
Yeah, the stories in that one were like adults can enjoy it now because it's so well written and stuff.
right,
But I remember
right.
being a little kid, I was like, wow, the story's so amazing. You know, I
Yeah.
feel like kids still appreciate good stories, you know, not like, you know, um, well, I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah,
Huh?
my little grandnieces probably watch all these really kiddie cartoons, which is, but I can't get into them. But when it's something like Bugs
Yeah,
Bunny or something like that, then you can appreciate on like a couple of levels. Yeah.
yeah. I appreciate cartoons with good stories. I feel
Right.
like there should be more, you know, that take
Right. Yeah.
seriously, like not like, oh, they're little kids, so we're just gonna write these little stories for them, you know, like they'll understand it, you know, like,
Right.
you know, there's kids out there that are really smart, they'll get it, you know.
Oh
um
yeah, and they're watching. Believe me, those kids are watching plenty of other things like
oh,
that they probably shouldn't watch. So,
yeah.
but I mean, I understand the need to make cartoons for, like, you know, just small little kids.
Mhm.
Um,
I'm not
but
talking about Dora, but you know, I'm just saying.
well, since you didn't talk about it, that's okay then. No.
Yeah.
And then
But
you're showing us Darkwing Duck here. I remember watching. I didn't really watch it because that
oh,
was in the '90s, but I remember it. I mean, I kind of like I mean, that title card. That's right out of the Batman
oh
animated series. Yeah.
yeah. I think this was they were trying to they liked the whole dark thing, but it was Disney. So but Darkwing Duck here is one that really inspired me to do Taco el Gato as him as a superhero. And so and Mighty Mouse too. Uh,
And that's Mighty Mouse. Just so people know, that's the Ralph Bashki version, which is
yeah, this
different.
is the Ralph Bakshi, uh-huh. Yeah, uh-huh. And now I really like that one. Like I mean the older ones are, you know, they're classics and stuff, but like the Ralph Bakshi is just the style of it so cool, so interesting, and
If,
I like that style. I'm
if
sorry, go
people have, if people haven't seen the Ralph Bashki Mighty Mouse, and maybe they haven't seen this other one too, but it kind of more like that, like the Ren and Stimpy. If people have seen that, where
ahead.
it's really, yeah, kind of I don't want to say adult, but it's for kids, but also they're making a lot of the jokes for
Yeah.
the older people in the audience.
Uh-huh. And plus I really like the style. Like I really like his style of cartoons.
Right,
So I don't know. They're they're crisp. I don't know how what other way of explaining it. They're crisp.
right.
But yeah, here's a taco, the newer uh cover. I might put this might be my cover for a volume or something, but
Oh,
um,
okay, I collect.
yeah, this is like early stuff. I want to
Oh my
show.
gosh.
I'll just skip that. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just like, this is 7 o'clock. It's okay.
All right. But here's the Super Taco, one of the covers where he's a super cat and he makes tacos and he's really embarrassed of his superpowers and you
Oh,
know
that's
there's
funny.
yeah, so that's the one that's directly inspired by Darkwing Duck and stuff. Oh, here's Wizards from Ralph Bakshi and
Oh,
stuff.
can you back up to the comic page?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
it's I might fix it because I feel like there's too many bubbles and a lot of words. Maybe spread it out a little bit. I'm gonna go back and renew, like fix it and then put it all together and release it as a graphic novel. Yeah.
The remastered edition.
Yeah, the remastered edition. Yeah.
But what I wanted to say was like the first panel and the third panel, you know, two characters looking at each other. That to me looks so Bugs Bunny, like the little brown character, the little brown animal character. He's very Bugs Bunny,
yeah, the
like,
little puppy here.
with the sleepy eye and kind of just and then Taco looks very Daffy Duck, where he's all screaming and getting emotional. I mean,
Yes.
those
Yes.
two panels, they totally underscore like the Bugs Bunny influence on your work. I love that.
Yes, he is definitely like a Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck style of character. Yeah.
Yeah, they're hot and cold, you know, they really bounce off each other.
Very extreme in personality.
Right. Another thing I wanted to mention from you don't have to back up to the slide, but you had showed a Sonic the Hedgehog comic.
Oh,
and,
yes.
And on your Instagram or your other social networks, yeah, I always see some Sonic fan art that you do pop up a lot.
Oh, yes.
So obviously, I mean, you're showing the comic, but I imagine you were very much into the video game at the time.
Okay, so when I was a kid too, I was really into Sonic the video games.
Right.
And as I got older, I guess I must have grown out of it because I wasn't really following it. But then when I started working on Super Taco, the one I just showed you, I wanted to get inspiration, you know, and for the artwork and stuff. And I started looking at the Sonic comics, but then I got really into the stories. And I was following it religiously for a while, but that was the Archie one. Now they're with IDW, so it's like they restarted. But man, that one was it was continuously going since like 1993 or something.
Wow, that's issue 241 right there. That's amazing for a video game comic.
Yeah, the comic was really good. It was, yeah.
I'm curious, guy. I never played that game, or I don't really. I mean, I know I've seen the character forever, but what is it about the character that you really loved following him in the comic? Because you said you grew out of the game. I mean, what is it about the comic stories, the adventures that you really dug as a kid?
As a kid,
or
I always like superhero animal characters. So wow. Yeah, so that's how I got into Sonic. And just playing them. I guess I was just addicted to playing the games. But the comic itself, I really like the like Dr. Robotnik or whatever. It's like nature and technology, and also there's like war, you know. I mean, I know it's little animals and stuff, but it gets pretty like in there, you know, like right. It's like actual war, because the scientist already took over the world, and he's trying to, you know, save it, but he already took over it, so it's kind of like he's more powerful. But yeah, sorry, I wouldn't be talking about this for a while.
No, I mean it's great to talk artists about what they really love. So basically, yes. So basically, Sonic is part of the resistance, right? In that world.
He's from a resistance called Freedom Fighters.
Wow. Okay. No, that's just that's interesting. And so yeah, it's funny how you said you're into superhero animals. That's like a whole little subgenre, because a lot of artists we talk to, they love superheroes like me. But you're talking about superhero animal characters, so that's a whole other topic. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. That's why I like puerquito. You're un puerquito.
Oh, thanks. Blush. Thanks. Yeah, be playing with the little animal superhero genre.
Yeah, I really like that one, especially when you add the little sound effects. It was great.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, that's what's great about comics. You can put up the big sound effects, which reminds us of animation when they got those really silly, explosive sounds. So it's interesting. You were saying earlier too how you were studying animation, but then this really talks to the power of comics. The attraction to comics. You were saying as a storyteller, you like the fact that since you're doing your own comic, you could actually write it and draw it, where in animation, yeah, you just can't go to a studio and say, unless you have some type of profile, you just can't say, oh, I want to write and animate the show. So
Exactly.
comics give you that freedom.
Yes, exactly. That's the reason why comics for me, I naturally went into it because I could tell the story as I'm drawing it. You know, I could show their emotions and
Right.
like it's just so natural to me when I'm writing the story. I don't even write it. Sometimes I just draw them and then that's how the way I make the story, like by just going with it and stuff.
Oh,
Um,
like, so you don't write a script for, like, if you're doing a new comic, you don't write out a script, right?
No, I don't write a script. I have the ideas in my head and I write notes on the side and stuff, but I as the story, I have my notes, but then I keep the notes in mind and then I just thumbnail everything.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how I do my comics, because like, like you, you live in your head, right? So like every day, whatever, driving on the freeway or whatever,
Uh,
I'm always running the story in my head, like over and over and over. So when I sit down at the drawing board, I don't want to start typing, like, I'm done with school, right? I don't want to start.
huh.
So I just start visually drawing each page. And then, like you said, make some notes on the side and then you edit it. And then, I mean, there's different ways to make comics. There's no one way, but
Yeah,
I think a
yeah.
lot of people do it the way you and me are doing it, where it's just like, well, let me draw it out and I can just edit and re-edit and re-edit, whatever, so it gets right.
Yes, yeah. Uh-huh. I get you. Yeah, I guess we write similarly because yeah, that's what I do. And then you get into it too, right? Like you get into you focus on the story, like you're not even there anymore. It's just the characters doing what they're doing in their world and that's I love that. I love getting lost in the story. Yeah.
At what point, when I was, because sometimes in my head, because you do interviews sometimes for people, you want to be able to explain that, right? And it
Mhm.
occurred to me, because we've all played with action figures as kids.
Oh yeah.
Maybe some of us adults still do. I don't, but
I do.
awesome, awesome. But it reminds me of, like, well, when I was a kid and I'm playing with my action figures, it's almost like 3D drawings. Like, I'm moving the figures, I'm doing the dialogue, I'm doing the scenes. So for me as an artist, when I'm drawing, sometimes I guess subconsciously I'm tapping into that childhood thing of like, well, it's all visual for me. Like, yeah, the dialogue is going to be important after when I write it, but
Uh-huh.
I need to see these characters, how they move into space, how they're positioned, and then the next panel and the next. So yeah, I think being very, very visually oriented, I mean, that's not rare at all for an artist.
Yeah, I remember being a kid and in my head, I would be playing with my toys and it was episodes. Like every day was a different episode. In my,
Wow.
like and I guess it does start from there. I guess maybe some people just continue to have that. And I think that's a real gift, well, I like Michael Jackson, but like I feel like he had that too, he had that that child thing that's very important that we should keep, especially when we want to be like artistic or whatever, or even like even I feel like it's beneficial even in other things, like some scientists even say like that kids always ask the great questions because they're so, I don't know.
They're uninhibited and they don't have all like the grown-up stuff, like,
Hmm.
second guessing themselves at a certain point. I teach comic classes and I used to teach a lot for younger kids. And what I noticed is, and I think we all know this, get a group of kids, like say 8-year-old kids or 10-year-old kids, get a group of them and they'll pretty much all draw. And then maybe get them, maybe when they're 12 years old or 13, get them back together and let's do a drawing session. You're gonna have more of the kids say, oh, you know what? I'm not an artist. I'm not that good. She's better. They start getting self-conscious, but then like the ones like you and me, we don't know any better. We just love art. We keep
Uh-huh.
going when we're 13, when we're 23, 53, 63. So
Hmm.
I think all kids like to draw for the most part and they're uninhibited, but unfortunately we start developing like, oh, like me right away as a kid. Oh, I'm not good at sports. I suck at it. Um, thank God, because now I'm an artist.
It makes sense. I don't know too much about sports either, but I like to ride my bike. 'Cause
No, that's good.
I-
In the old days when you can go outside and breathe fresh air and ride your bike, right? Without choking on
Oh
the.
yes, yes. When we didn't have to wear the mask. Yeah. Oh.
Thank you for wearing one. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I know we won't get into all that stuff, Candy, but we'll talk later.
Sorry. Okay.
I mean,
Oh yeah, so like I was gonna say, yeah, the art that you see on my Instagram, the Sonic, it's actually a old fan comic I did. Um, and because I was trying to have material to submit to Archie Comics, so I was like, oh, I want to work for them.
yeah.
So I started practicing, but I was like, oh, might as well do a fan comic, and that was like a few years ago. So that's what I've been posting. It
Oh,
just
okay, okay. It's good to see that stuff.
yeah.
So let me just touch one more thing on Taco el Gato. So what is it that made you actually, as an adult, publish that first issue? Like how did that come about?
Um, how did that happen?
You can look on Wikipedia if you want. We can.
I think it was I was at a point in my life where I was like, okay, I'm always working, and then I come home, and it's like I wanted to be creative, I wanted to be creative. So I was looking at through my old stuff, my old drawings and things like that. I was like, oh, I have Taco, I haven't drawn him in years. So I started drawing them, and then I started getting, oh yes, and I've always had like notebooks of little stories, but I never did anything with them. But I was like, no, I'm gonna finish one this time. Yeah, like now that I'm older and I don't have that weird, because some of them are from like when I was a teenager in high school, and some of them were really cringy and stuff. But but I was looking through it, and I was like, oh man, these are terrible. But the Super Taco one, because Taco is like like a Bugs Bunny character. Like sometimes he's different things. So I was like, oh, okay, so he's a superhero in this one. So I just went with it, and I had my notes from the old story in my notebook, but then as an adult, I kind of like, put it together better, and I just went with it. I was just having fun. It was a web comic, and people who were reading it really enjoyed it, and just seeing people's comments and getting excited for something that was going to happen, that made me be like, oh, I have to do this again. I have to do it again. And yeah, that's how I finished it. If it wasn't for the people commenting, I probably would have finished it. I'm
No,
joking.
no, but I think that's very natural. Like, first of all, you like you said, you were busy working, and you
Mhm.
finally go, you know what? I got to get this idea out in the world, because honestly, having the ideas in our sketchbook in the bottom drawer, like who cares? Like the world doesn't know. I mean, yeah, that's great that we create all this stuff, but yeah. So I commend you for taking that step and finally putting it out. But you're right, you put it out, and then it's like, hey, they liked it. They want more.
Yes, and it's a
So
great feeling. It's like, wow, this is my character, and people like him. So funny. Yeah,
like
it's
they
great.
love me. They really love me. Like I think Sally Field said that years ago. It's like a famous quote now. Hey, but we're artists, like we're supposed to do this for ourselves because it's a burning thing. But let's be honest, we do love when people respond positively to the work. And
Yes.
if they want more, then good, because I got plenty more to keep publishing. So good for you. I'm glad you,
Oh, thank
hopefully it
you.
inspires other people who are watching. Like, yeah, you know what? I had this idea for years for a
Yeah.
song or a book, or put it out there, people, because once it's out there, at least you could say, I put it out in the world.
Yes. It's like seeing your child and people saying, "Oh my God, this child is so cute." It's like, "Oh, they like my child."
Right, right. Or they like my little turtle or whatever.
Yeah,
They
they
like,
like
they
the
like my
turtle.
little cochito, whatever.
Yeah. See, when I said that I like your little cochinito, you were like, "Oh, I'm blushing."
Yeah, no one ever talks. I got to put more cochito comics out. I forgot about them.
Yeah, it's cute.
What a terrible parent, huh? I got so many little kids out there. I forgot them all.
Hey, you're
Okay.
providing for them. It's all right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you have any more images you wanted to share? Because now I'd like to talk to you about your current big project.
Oh yes,
You would? the
I
bag
can go
and the
into that
bunny.
with the wizards
Oh
and
yeah.
the Osamu Tezuka style of drawings.
Oh,
Yes, like so wizards is like, it sparked an idea and stuff, but like I also really like the Osamu Tezuka art style and stuff. So here's some. I just wanted to show you so you understand. And I know you understand what I'm talking about
oh
because
my gosh, blackjack.
blackjack.
Hey, really quick, so let's tell the audience. So I think Candy showed a slide earlier of a Japanese comic called Astro Boy.
Oh
So
yes, let's go back.
in Japan, um, they have a huge comic industry, and there we go. So in Japan, they call him this. This is Japanese. They call him the god of manga. So Osamu Tezuka, I think in the 50s, he started making manga, Japanese comics, and he's really like the first major one who had big impact. And like to this day, what, 50 years later, whatever, the artists today still refer back to him as like this huge pioneer. So Candy's going to be sharing, I think, some of his characters that inspired her, some of his work and stuff.
Sorry, let me go back. Okay, yeah, so this is some of his characters and you know what I mean. Unico, I was gonna say, well, let me go back over here because you understand the style of his art, like it, and we talked about this, like how he inspired other people and like for a while there was a certain style, like in the 60s and 70s,
Right.
anime, and that style, like I really liked it, like, but I that's why I kind of like designed my characters kind of like inspired by that, but with my taste or my um my accent, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
But
I like that. I like that your artistic accent. That's kind of neat.
I didn't know how to describe it, but yeah, like but there's also like little other characters during, I don't know if it was the 70s or 80s, like they're just really cute, pure characters.
Right.
From
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so like Unico was one of them, and Astro Boy. Let me go back. In Astro Boy, and Sharon's Bell. It's another anime about like this little lamb, and it's kind of like a Bambi character, like it. I really wanted to have a character like that and stuff,
Right.
and like Bimbo and stuff, and here's Astro Boy.
There we go, Astro Boy.
And that's what kind of like, especially Astro Boy, kind of like, I don't know, like it's inspired me, and that's how I came up with Burnaby, the little bunny from my character, from the good band in the Bad and the Bunny here.
Yeah,
Um,
you little animal characters again. That's good.
yeah.
Hey, one thing we should tell the audience about Japanese comics, especially the Tezuka stuff we were looking at, because when you
Mhm.
first look at Tezuka's Astro Boy and the other stuff, like, oh, he draws very cutesy, it's very Disney inspired, the big eyes and very rounded features.
Mhm.
But right, some of the storylines can get dark, they can get adult, they can get sophisticated.
Oh yeah.
And so there's that really weird or interesting dynamic of that style of Japanese comics where it's like cutesy on the outside, looks very friendly, kid friendly. And then you start reading the story, like Devilman from the
Uh,
early 70s, my favorite.
uh-huh.
Again, the art's very cutesy and everything, but the story can be very graphic, and the demons and the blood and the guts. So there's
Yes.
something very fascinating about that aesthetic, right?
Yes, and I'm so into that. I'm so into into the really cute, but underneath it all, there's like there's darkness. I really like that.
Right.
I don't know why, but I like that, and I did want to have something like that for this story. It doesn't get as dark as Osamu Tezuka work. You know what I'm talking
Right.
about? But it's still kid friendly. It's still kid friendly.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you, because you got that great image up there of all the characters from the Good, the Bad, and the Bunny.
Yeah.
So if I just tuned in on right now, I go, hey, so what is this? What is this world? What are these characters? What's this story?
Oh man. Okay. So originally,
I got time.
I was trying to make a visual novel game. I did work. You can still go online and see the demo for the game,
Right.
but uh, I'm not very good at programming,
Right.
so um, I decided to put that on hold and just. I already have the story, so just um, well, things happen, especially with pandemic things. So I couldn't really focus on the learning how to code, and I, had to. Things changed. Things
Yep.
changed. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go for it and do a web comic based on the story I already had for the visual novel and stuff. And if things go well, and people like it, then maybe I could make a game in the future and stuff. But like I said, you can still find the demo online. The story is it's I guess it's an epic fantasy fairy tale. Um, it has comedy too. It has some comedy. Um, a lot. I'm also really into ancient civilizations and stuff. Like before, when I was a kid, I wasn't thinking of becoming a cartoonist or an animator. I actually wanted to be an Egyptologist. Like I wanted to study Egypt and
Wow.
stuff. I was really into that, and to this day, I still really love to learn stuff like that. I don't know. I just think it's everything. Every culture is so beautiful and stuff, but I try to explore a little bit of those things in my comic. Like each character is from a different part, and they have their own. I guess it's inspired by other like real life cultures and stuff. Um, but it's not Earth. It's not Earth. It's like it's inspired by yeah.
Yeah,
um,
yes. I mean, that's what we call world building. You had to create.
yeah.
You had to create this whole world, the rules of it. I guess the environments, the visuals.
Oh
So
yes.
yeah.
It is also like a fairy tale, so there's a lot of magical things. Some of them based off of like like Norse mythology
Mhm.
and Mexican mythology and Chinese mythology and stuff. Yeah, and it's about this little bunny who's escaping this kingdom that is not doing very well because the prince has changed. He's not being himself. Like something happened to him, and he has little evil tendencies, and his wizard is helping him out. Um, so the bunny, based off of a legend of the three stars, which is like they're up there. Um, there's three heroes he needs to put together to save the world or whatever. So the other two are he thinks the other two are these two guys, which is the girl Beatrix and the cat Blackie Chan, which he's based off my cat. And he goes to them for help, but he doesn't know that they're actually like a warring uh, 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 they're warring they're rivals,
Right.
they're rival colonies and stuff. So yeah, he has to go through that before he can actually save his kingdom from the bad prince and the wizard.
I had a question about just this image, but it's really interesting hearing you talk about it. And I'm sure hopefully the audience is getting this. Like everything you told us about the storyline, I'm thinking back what you talked about the last half hour about like, the world and the war in Sonic.
Oh
And
yes.
like, yeah, and then like the funny animal, the cutesy animal
Oh
stuff,
yeah.
and then
Uh-huh.
Prince. So this
Uh-huh.
just goes to show like, an artist growing up with all these influences from wherever, music or
Oh yes.
different, and then when they sit down to make a comic, they pull all this stuff in,
Oh
different
yeah.
parts. Yeah, and then you've made this wonderful, rich world. But my question was, because when you first announced this, whenever I saw it on Instagram, whatever, what caught I love the title because one of my favorite films is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. But the word that caught my eye was, you called it a visual novel.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, at first it's like, okay, I go, wait a minute, visual, like, what is that? What it like, that's interesting. It's like, is that another word for a comic? Like, why did you
So
pick that word, or what? Yeah, what's a visual novel, if it's not obvious to us, I
I
guess.
could show you. I could show you if you like.
Oh my God. Ooh, there's exclusive secrets on
Uh,
the Latino Comic Expo.
it's not gonna be very good, but I'll
You're
show.
like, don't put it up, Javier. Don't put it up. Don't put the expectations too high.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't put it on then. Oops. Um, okay, so a visual novel is, I'm pretty sure you've seen like on Instagram, there's like ads for games that you choose. It's sort of like choose your own adventure.
Right.
Like you're playing as a character in that story, and based off your choices, it changes the story.
Right. Right.
Branching storylines, which I had, but because of the webcomic, I have to make it linear and
Right.
stuff. But there was multiple endings and everything and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, it took me 2 years to do, but I'm here doing the webcomic now, so let's see how that goes. But uh,
Well, this is a really interesting question. Okay, so when it's a visual novel, when it was going to be a game, the viewer could pick a choice and go take the story here, here, or here.
yes.
That's interesting. So for you, but you now, when you're making a comic, a web comic, and maybe hopefully print,
Mm-hmm.
you're picking the direction. Like, did you always have an exact direction for it, and then you figured once it's a video game, people can do their own? Like, so the one you're doing now, is that the one you always had planned? The
So
storyline, like the way it
so
goes.
I wrote the story, and then when the story was done, then I did the branching and stuff. So the one that I had originally is the one that I'm going towards, which is
Okay.
the best ending, because there was a bad ending where it ended badly, and it was a good one, and then there was a normal one. That's why it was called the good, the bad, and the bunny, because it's like good and the bad endings, you know. But
Right, right.
but that's how things happen. So maybe in the future it will happen. We'll see. But
Well,
uh,
I gotta give you credit as a fellow writer, a storyteller, because I'm very specific where I want my story to go. I wouldn't feel like comfortable at all. Like, okay, let me create these other options. So if people went that way with this character or with her, or this person died, I mean, so I admire that you had to come up with all these various branches, follow through with them.
it was
'Cause I'm
really
like, no,
cool.
I want to tell it the way I need to tell it, and that's it.
Yeah. I thought it was really fun because I get to see the other sides of each character too.
Right.
Yeah, so that was really fun. And then at the end, sometimes like the disappointment, or the good things, like, oh, cool, So that was fun because I felt more liberated, because it's like, oh, so this could have happened anyway, but just a different storyline. Yeah. So that
It's
was
kind of like letting the fans. It's kind of like letting the fans write their own fan fiction with these, because this fan wants this character to go here. This one,
yeah.
yeah, that's kind of interesting. I can see that.
Yeah. So like that was the easy part doing the game. But then when it came to the programming, I was so lost. I was like, when I did just the demo, which is just chapter 1, which I'm about to finish as the webtoons. I'm sorry, the web comic. I'm about to finish chapter 1,
Right.
but the demo is chapter 1, and it's written completely different too from the web comic. I had to rewrite it to fit the comic thing, but yeah, just making the demo was very hard, and with the programming, so I don't understand that. I need to get a professional for that.
That's a whole nother skill level. Yeah.
Oh
I
yes.
wouldn't even go near that, but I admire that you tried.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see how it goes in the
Yeah, yeah.
future. So,
So you want to share? Do you want to share some of the influences on each of these characters? Like, show us what led you to come up with each one, or
Sure. So here's Burnaby.
oh, so cute.
So, looking at this character, I don't know from where this anime character's from, but this is the style that that I wanted to, but I mean, still have my own influence with it, but,
Right.
who's this? Do you know? I'm pretty sure you know that. I don't know.
I believe that might be, I might get in trouble here, Star Blazers,
Oh, okay.
the English version, but it's definitely 70s. Yeah. They got,
Uh-huh.
the guy's
70s.
got the long 70s hair, and wow, that's a great image.
Oh, yes. Yes. Like, oh, and you told me about this one. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to put it in here.
I thought your character, Prince Edwin, he totally reminded me of Harlock, Captain Harlock there with the long hair covering half the face. And you said you were familiar with him, so that's really,
the
but
style.
you're
That's
into
the
that 70s
feeling.
aesthetic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the feeling I want. That I want that magical like anime character. And then like, you know how I tell you I love Jim Henson, like this
Yep.
from Labyrinth,
Right.
David
David
Bowie,
Bowie.
like I wanted that style, like if he was an anime character, but not only him, like Prince too,
Oh,
and
totally. That's
Michael
Prince
Jackson.
Edwin.
I love Michael Jackson. This is my favorite image of him, but yeah, so that's how I created the Prince.
Yep. Everything that you showed us, we can see where it ends up with Prince Edwin there.
And with
Yeah,
my twang, I guess. I didn't want to be an anime character, but I just wanted that feeling.
right. Hey, Andy, you know what? I don't want to cut you off right now, but we've been talking so much great stuff, and there are some questions coming up from the audience, I noticed, and this is my fault. I had promised people we'd maybe be able to have you show us how you maybe can you maybe draw one of these characters for us?
Oh yes, I'm sorry. Yeah,
No,
let
I'm
me.
sorry. I could
No,
talk to you
it's
for
cool.
hours about this wonderful stuff.
Yeah, we could talk about cartoons for hours.
We'll have
Let's
to
see.
go meet at Mario's Tacos on Whittier and Passons when they reopen.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I can't wait to go and actually sit down and eat some of those tacos. Also, should I just draw it then? I don't know if
Yeah,
you.
could you call up have a screen there to draw any of the three of your characters you want, of the main ones, Beatrix, Bernabel,
Okay, if anybody's watching, I'll let somebody choose. Who do you guys want to draw?
Let's check the chat. Do you have a particular character of Candy's that you want her to
It says my screen is paused.
Oh, okay. Hey, you know what? Let's do some questions really quick.
Hello? Okay, is it working?
Crystal Gonzalez would love to see you draw Burnaby.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll do that. Hi, Crystal. Thank you. I'll draw that. I'll draw Burnaby. Here, let me just share my other screen. How do I change this? Here we are. Okay.
Cool.
There you go. Can you see? Sorry if my face is
I see the screen. we got about a little over, say 10 minutes. If you could draw, and I may ask you a couple of audience questions while you're drawing, hopefully I don't distract you with the question.
Oh yeah, no problem. I can do it.
You can draw Burnaby in your sleep.
All right. Can you see all right?
Yeah, we can see the screen.
Okay. So yeah, I'm drawing Burnaby right now.
So while you're drawing him, I'm going to ask you, this is also from Crystal. She'd like to know, how long does it take you to draw a new part of the web comic? I guess like a new chapter or whatever.
Oh, it depends. It depends how you call it. I guess if I have all day or I don't have anything to do, it could take me 2 days because but that's because of the system that I do, because I already have all the thumbnails. You know how I was telling you how when I write, I have the thumbnails. So I just scan the thumbnails, and then a separate layer, I do the inking and then the bubbles, and then I color everything.
Right.
Yeah, and then I guess in the webcomic, format, there's less panels. So it's a little easier for me at least. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question about what you're drawing. So obviously you're doing digital drawing, and I think your web, like, is all your professional published work that we see digital art? I mean, imagine you has a sketchbook for your own personal stuff, but like, is everything that we see, like the Taco comic, the Good, the Bad, and the But, is that all digital all the time?
So the Taco comic, the Super Taco, that one was half digital, half hand drawn. Like I would ink it by hand and everything, and then I would scan it and then colored it in.
Right.
But the Good, the Bad, and the Bunny, it's all digital.
Okay. Okay.
And to be honest, I haven't really drawn on paper for a while.
Wow.
But
the trees appreciate that.
oh yes, yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I'm not very good at keeping a sketchbook because I always end up tearing all the pages out.
Oh, right. You don't like it, then you tear it out.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, yeah. So it's better that I draw, digitally instead.
Okay. So there's two other questions that here's, I don't know if you want to answer this one because this will be a spoiler for your fans. But here's the question: did Blackie Chan kill Queen Beatrix's parents? You want to pass on that, or do you feel okay answering it?
Read the comic.
Well, I think the person did read it, and that they got that sense that he did.
Oh, okay. Well, he obviously killed the king and stuff, but I'm not gonna say if he killed everybody. So maybe I just ruined that, but
no. So it's dark, but it's not that dark.
Yeah. Well, it's dark, but it's not like Osamu Tezuka dark.
Okay. 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 Another question. Let me look at this question and then let's see if I could. Well, let me just read what this person wrote. Okay.
Okay.
How are you able to work with digital art? In other words, what's your okay? So in other words, what's your process when making comics or web comics digitally? I'm striving to be an artist, but I always have trouble with doing digital art.
So the question is, how does he get started with digital?
Yeah, I believe she's asking, how are you able to work with digital? In other words, what's your process for making comics or webcomics digitally? She's striving to be an artist, but always has trouble doing the digital art. I guess they're trying to overcome, doing the digital art.
Well, it helps if you have, if you don't have like for example, because when I first started doing digital, I didn't have like a Surface Pro or an iPad or anything like that, or a Cintiq.
Right.
So I would just hand draw the drawings and ink it, and then I would scan it in, and then digitally I would color it in and put it together like that. But if you have a Cintiq or an iPad and stuff, it's a little easier. Yeah, I guess it helps if you have good how do you say
yeah, the software?
Yes, software. And yeah, what kind of software does she use? I started with Photoshop and stuff, but now I use Clip Studio because it feels better when you're drawing on there because it's made for drawing, but Photoshop is more like for photos and things like that. So I mean, it still works if you want to use it, but I ended up really loving Clip Studio, so that's what I use now.
I don't do digital art myself, but I would imagine, regardless of the software, like anything, it's just about practice, right? You got to put in the hours and hours and hours.
Oh yeah. I'm not counting the actual like how to make comics part.
Right.
Yeah, that one's like, yeah, you have to, if you want to get better with art and stuff like that, honestly, practice is the best thing.
Right. And the same person who asked that question, she asked another one here. I mean, maybe you showed a lot of these in the slides, but like, what comics and graphic novels specifically influenced you over the years and inspired you to make comics? Maybe they came late, I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
Yeah, they're basically asking what comics and graphic novels specifically influenced you over the years and inspired you to make comics.
I guess I would have to say, like I really like Astro Boy, Usagi Yojimbo, the Sonic ones, obviously. But before then, I wouldn't follow comics very much until I got into drawing the comics, you know?
Right.
So I can't say like I grew up doing that. Like, I'm trying to think which ones I did read when I was younger. It was mostly like comic strips. I would collect the newspaper ones and I would clip them and I just had them in a big folder and I just loved looking at the artwork and stuff. And but I guess that's I would get ideas when I was drawing my own comics for myself. When I was a kid, I would look at the comic strips. But yeah, when I actually started doing comics, that's when I really started getting more into comics that already existed in manga. Oh, actually, romance manga. Yeah, I think those are the ones that I actually would read.
Right.
There was this one, I forgot the name of it. And it's been a while too, but it was a romance. It's pretty popular. I can't think of the name right now. But yeah, with that one, I would say, yeah, I would start it with that one.
Yeah, like you said, influences come from everywhere. I mean, not everyone grew up just reading like, Batman, Spider-Man comics. There's a huge group of artists like you coming in from, Japanese comics and animation and, and so many outside influences like video games or music video or movies or whatever. So yeah, everything is good for inspiration.
Jim Henson's a big inspiration. I'm sorry.
No, keep drawing. We got a few minutes left. I mean, it's cool to see this. Yeah, we'll see how much you can ink while we're here. But so what could the viewers, what could the fans look forward to you? Like, what's the most, I guess, what's the current thing you're working on, and what are we going to be able to see from you, like in the immediate future?
I guess the web comic for now. I do plan on putting together the Super Taco. Super Taco. The remastered one from
Right.
remastered one out as a graphic novel, and I'm also doing Sugar Mommy. Which is me when I was a little girl.
Actually, I think you have an image of that. Could I ask you to share that?
Yeah, here, let me
stop drawing, but since you brought that up, I love that title, Sugar Mama.
Oh yeah, Sugar Mommy, because my name is Candy.
Wow.
So Sugar Mommy.
Sugar Mommy.
The name catches your attention.
Well, absolutely, yeah. It's like I gotta see this. I gotta see this comic.
Okay, let's see. Here it is. Okay, let me see. Oh yeah, by the way, Beatrix is inspired by this character.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Gloria Trevi, right?
Yeah, I love her. Since I was a kid, she was my hero. And also a little bit of Jessica Rabbit, but not too much.
Yes, Jessica.
Oh, yeah. And my kitty, here's my kitty, and a Blackadder, and the wizard, and okay, let me.
Oh wow.
Here it is, Sugar Mommy.
Nice sample of the webcomic there.
Oh, thanks. But yeah, this is the cover of Sugar Mommy, the first issue. I do plan on making more.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
It's all about me. Yep, that's the mentality of the.
Yeah.
Of the kids. I love that.
It's all about me. Yeah.
Now, excuse me, did you say this was a web comic? I guess.
Oh, this one's actually a physical one.
Wow. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Hey, what's the last comic convention you remember doing before we shut it all down? Did you do one?
Modesto. Modesto was the last one. And then after that, time went by and I did an art walk. And then that was it.
Oh, an art walk. Okay.
Yeah.
I do miss going to the show. I do miss doing shows. I gotta admit.
Me too.
Right?
Yeah, I do.
Your fellow artists and then the fans and, being able to sell all the stuff that you're making, day and night. Okay, well, we're right now. We're exactly at the hour.
Okay.
If you want to keep drawing, maybe like draw us out, as they say on TV.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I could finish.
I know this puts us on the spot. Do you remember your websites or your social network handles right off the top of your head?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I never do.
They're all Taco el Gato comics. There's tacoelgatocomics.com, and then Facebook, DeviantArt, YouTube, and Instagram. They're all Taco el Gato comics, and then Twitter is just Taco el Gato.
Okay, good. You're lucky because mine I can't get either my character or my name, so everything's different. But you're lucky that you have everything uniform. But yeah, so we'll invite the fans to check out Candy's work at her website, tacoelgatocomics.com, and look for her on the various social networks. She's always she's always popping up on mine, sharing drawings and stuff. Let me see what else. Okay, so Candy, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, no, thanks for sharing your great story, your art, your animation here, your live drawing. I'm sorry I didn't leave you enough time, didn't give you more time.
It's cool. It's fine. I'm sorry I didn't draw fast enough.
No. I squeezed it in at the last second, but it was so great talking to you about all those great influences and what inspires you and what motivates you to make your comics. So thank you everybody for watching In the Studio with Candy Briones and Latino Comics Expo. We're going to be back Friday and Saturday, and then that'll be our full week of programming. So thank you, Candy.
Thank you,
and thank you,
Javier.
audience, for watching us, supporting us, and thank you, Mola, for hosting us all week long. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.